Hambini fans, and welcome to another episode of Hambini Reams. In today's episode we have this. This is a long-ish term review of my Winspace T1600. This is my race bike. It's also my training bike. I've only got the one bike these days. The rest are kind of like in storage, but never mind. I've had this for a few months and I've been mainly riding duathlons and the odd nighttime time trial on it. This review is largely subjective, so you're going to get my opinions on it. There'll be a few numbers and stats in there, but that's where we're going with it. Most of the YouTube reviews revolve actually around Winspace's other bike, the SLC5. There's not that many on this one. So this is the Aero bike, the T1600. So I've done about 6,000-ish kilometers on this bike and it has been completely faultless. It's been in the wind tunnel. I've had several different sets of wheels on it and it's been raced in Germany, the Netherlands and in the UK. Now, if you buy it, as I bought it, you get the fork, the handlebars, the stem, all that good stuff, the frame set and the seat post. The rest of it are all bolt-ons. The way I've got it set up at the moment is it's got some upvine wheels, so they're on test at the moment. The handlebar tape is deader. I mean, it's been on and off so many times, it's ridiculous. 105 group set. The stem and all that's all integrated because it came with it. The water bottle is a Elite Cruiser or Evolve Cruiser. I think it came from the same place. That is something I'd recommend if you're interested in the Aero because you'll save drag by actually running that rather than not. Grupo 105, I think they're 105 pedals, and then same upvine seat at the back. And then we've got a Cannondale, or is it Synapse? I can't remember who made the seat, but it's just a standard seat. This upvine wheel set is a fairly budget wheel set and it's performed quite well actually. If you are interested, then remember to check that review out. The fork is an OE fork. One of the key differences on this setup compared to my normal setup is the frame is slightly smaller than I normally take. So I'm normally on a 56, but this one is a 54. To compensate, I have a slightly longer stem on the handlebar and stem combination. That has the effect of dampening the handling slightly. So if you make the stem shorter, it makes it more razor sharp, the handling, but you lose a bit in terms of vibration dampening on your hands. The other thing is aerodynamically, it can make a change. So if you change those two variables, just say the handlebars are low, that can move you from being on one bike, being more aerodynamic than another bike. So just bear that in mind. If you want some more in-depth engineering, look at the seats, the bottom bracket and all that kind of good stuff, then I'd suggest you take a look at the first video in this series. This is the bottom bracket area. It is BB T47 or just T47 and it's an 86.5mm shell. The 85.5 which are Treks will also fit. Underneath is a little door where you can put the Di2 battery. That is quite useful if you're flying because you can just take that out. Now every bike tends to have some controversial features. This is probably the standout feature on this bike, which are these winglets. Now I'm not sure they actually do anything aerodynamically because I haven't been able to test one without it. However, I've seen several bikes use this. I think the Seeker one and also a couple from Light Carbon have the same kind of setup. Building this thing was a complete doddle. Everything went together with no issues whatsoever. I didn't have to grind anything or sand anything, it just went together. The obvious problems that you always get are routing the brake cables through because it's a one piece. That is about as tricky as it got. Now I'm waiting for some quick connectors to come along so that I can split the brake lines and then it'll make swapping the headset bearings easier. Fortunately, I haven't had to change the headset bearings, which is unusual given that I'm riding around in this thing on muddy, crap roads in northern England. Now, if you are interested in routing, it is completely internal, you can't see any of it it is not set up for mechanical shifting, so I don't even think you could run it. Now, where the main aero gains on this thing are inside the handlebars. So these are the new Hyper handlebars, and they, you know, without any shadow of a doubt, have contributed quite dramatically to the improvement in aerodynamics. So if you're going to buy this bike, I'd certainly recommend that you get the handlebars with it. Just a bit further down from there, which is the head tube area, that's probably an area where there is some scope for aero gain. So if you have a look fairly carefully, I'll just twist this round, you can see this bit is actually quite pointy, and there's a bit of a recess before we hit the headset spaces. Now mechanically, there is a problem in here because you've obviously got a round bearing, so you have to bring that slightly further forward to compensate. But I think that is where a gain could occur. Some manufacturers have put hinged head tubes in there to try and, you know, gain that back. I mean, that comes with its own complexities as well. Since the UCI rules were relaxed, you see a lot of manufacturers with fairly long effective chord sections between the front of the head tube and the rear. The ever observant amongst you will probably be wondering where my Garmin mount is. Well, I used to use one, and then I sort of transitioned to a watch, but then I discovered these, which are Cybersight HUD glasses. And they are the best thing since sliced bread. So I've ditched that and ditched the drag associated with it. So we're looking through the glasses now. If you look through the right lens, you can see some green overlays, and then you can see the same thing through the left lens. So you get that view while you're riding along. You don't have to look down. Once you've had this, I don't think you'd go back. Well, I certainly wouldn't anyway. Screw me, I'm just so damn good looking. Right, let us check that pen is working. Pen is working. And if you are the individual who saw me, I think his name was Stuart, in Union Square in Aberdeen, a hello to you and your hairdresser. Right, the Winspace T1600 by Hambini, aged 5. Let's have an overview. First of all, oh God, I am just so good looking. Look at that. That is just beautiful. Right, messing around aside, this has been my race bike since April. So it's now November. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By my 5-year-old math, it's about 7 months. I don't even know how many miles I've done in that time, but it's been a lot. It has been a pretty successful bike for me. And that's probably less about the bike and more about me actually getting in shape. So yes, I don't claim to be the fastest time trialist in the world. I certainly am not, but I'm not bad for like club level, I guess. So yes, the previous bike was the Oleo R12. That is also a bike that I would recommend. It's a bit cheaper, not quite as fast, but I would say that I would give that one for build quality a 10, and the overall package a 10. But if you want out and out speed, it isn't the fastest. This frame is extremely sensitive to the choice of wheel, and that's on two fronts. The first is the depth and then the width. If you get like a stupidly wide tyre and wheel combination on here, you will end up losing more in aero than you will gain in rolling resistance. So bear that in mind. And the handlebars, I mean, these handlebars are really a work of art. That is where the bulk of the aerodynamic gain has come from. It's quite significant, and it's pretty obvious when you test it. It is also extremely stiff. The build quality is also pretty flawless as well. Right, this next bit, if you're on Patreon, you get to hang around. If you're not on Patreon, I'm going to do my clap and join you afterwards. Right, the winglet things. The aero gains are pretty difficult to prove because I don't have a frame without them. I suppose I could to get the Dremel out and cut them up, but I'm not really supposed to do that because you can make it worse. Subjectively, I think the frame feels slightly stiffer when you try and twist it. And the handling, I'd say the handling on this was pretty good. But yeah, it's subjective. So I'm not totally convinced on the winglets, but they're there. There's a lot of companies that have them. So yeah. Now, the geometry. This one's a bit of a tricky one because the way they've spec'd it is the XL, which is the one I've got, is labelled as a 540, but it's actually got quite a long top tube. So the D dimension, which is 575, is quite long. And I think they've done that. Sorry, I think they've done that because where they've taken the seat tube length from is there to the bottom bracket, but there's quite a slope on the frame. So if you get the longer frame, you get more of a deviation in the seat tube because it's sloping at the same angle. So bear that in mind. Yeah, just take that into account if you're going to buy one. Right, general stuff. Right, I would 150% recommend you buy the bike with the handlebars. I apologise for using map deck percentages there. The reason for that is if you go and get a different set of handlebars, you may compromise your aerodynamics, and these handlebars are really good anyway. The bike drag is completely minuscule compared to that of the rider. So if you go and sort your clothing out so it doesn't flap around, get a haircut, probably shave your hair. If you're really that way inclined, shave your legs. You might as well shave your pubes as well. Well, why not? If you've got any. And then, yeah, I mean, just bear that in mind because people obsess about drag and some of these things just aren't worth it. Right, the deeper wheels are something I would recommend. So something that is more than 50 millimeters and slightly narrower. So maybe a 28 or a 30. This sort of business about putting 35 mil wheels on there, unless you've got really crap road surface, I wouldn't go near it. The 9Velo CD series, which, I mean, I've had loads of wheels on here. The 9Velo CD series is a good choice. The Elite Drive is also a good choice. Winspace Mega is not bad. That's a bit shallower, but that's also considerably more expensive. Now, one thing that crops up quite a lot is people complain about warranties, mainly because they've been watching map deck too long. Well, you know what he's like with his percentages. So the warranty, if you buy it from Winspace, you will get local coverage. So you could just go on to winspace.com, or is it winspace.cc, whatever the global website is, order it, it'll come. You don't have to pay any taxes because they're generally shipping from either the EU or the US or whatever, and it's covered. The bike turns up and then, yeah, you can just use it, and if you get a problem, then their warranty service is local. So that sort of problem has gone out of the way. I think they have warranty, well, they certainly have it in the States and they certainly have it in the UK. Most of the DAC countries, Benelux, I think they're pretty much everywhere now. Right, and the last point is, this is a frame that I would recommend. I mean, I've raced on it. I don't race in competitions where there's lots of people around me because my bike handling skills are probably rubbish, but on like individual time trials I go on it. It's a decent frame. It's had plenty of miles on it and it's been completely faultless. No issues with the headsets, no issues with anything coming apart, just been sorted. Right, that is the end of this video. If you did enjoy it, remember to smash that like button. If you didn't, go screw yourself. And as always, keep banging your hairdresser.